Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Greene County Express Terry Hoese Show, where we cover everything on the court with the South Greene Rebels basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Terry Hoese. Coach, how you doing this evening?
I'm good, Tyler. You all right?
I am. Sun's out, 60 degrees, birds are singing, and the Rebels are champions again.
Absolutely.
Back to back. Got the plaque here in front of us one more time. We'll let everybody view it. I joked with you before the show began. Last year we did a end of the year edition, and we had all of your different awards and championships on the table, and if you keep going at this rate, you're going to need a bigger table once it comes to that final show at the end of the year.
That'd be all right. I can take that.
I think we need a broom on the table because every tournament you've been in so far this year, you've swept. You won the Hardee's Classic, Big H Barbecue Christmas Bash, and now the District 1 2A Championship. Moving on to the Region 1 the Region 1 tournament now. You'll open up here at home on Saturday night with Eagleton. We'll talk about that a little bit in the latter half, but let's talk about the tournament that you just won more recently, and that's the District 1 2A tournament. You had Hampton in the opening round. I think everybody was anticipating that matchup. You looked in that gym on Friday night, and man, it was packed.
Yes.
It was packed on every side, on every level. You go into the championship game last night. I wasn't there. From what I was told, it was just as packed.
Yes.
Another Chucky Doak South Greene game in the books that everybody was able to enjoy. Take me through the tournament run this year and how happy you were to be able to come out on top for the second year in a row.
Well, we knew going in Hampton's extremely good, and we went triple overtime with them at their place, and really didn't know what to expect be out on a neutral floor. But kids came out and we were prepared. We had a good week of practice, and they come out and wanted to win, and they knew the importance. We talked about the importance of being able to have that home game for the first round of the regional tournament. So knew what was at stake against Hampton. Felt like our kids come out and they all performed extremely well. TJ had a great game. Jace had a good game. Chandler Gamble come out and had one of his better games. Just an all-around good effort from a bunch of people.
You could talk about so many different things that so many different players did in that game, because I'll talk to you about it after the game. You had that big dunk from TJ at the very end that kind of sealed it. You had the big three-pointers from Chandler in the first half, but you also had the two big offensive putbacks that he had in the second half. You had Woody playing great defense and doing great on offense. You had Caden doing well on defense. I don't know if Caden scored that night, but what he did on defense, being able to hold Campbell and Carrico down there in the post, attributed a lot to your success. And then you had Jace and Cooper knocking down big shots. I told you after the game, it's kind of crazy how, thinking back to that game, I don't know if you can remember one big shot in particular that Jace made, and he still led you in scoring with 18. Yep. He was smooth. He got his, scored the buckets when he needed to, and it was a great overall output from everybody that was able to lead you to victory.
That's as I said after that game, I couldn't pick out just one person that night. You look at all aspects of the game, and Woody did a great job on the Anspaw kid. We knew we couldn't let that kid get loose and get going, and Woody did a great job on him. And sometimes, when you've got kids that do things like that, it kind of takes away from their offensive end. But he was solid. He didn't go try to force a lot of stuff on offense, played great defense. Caden Fielder's kind of been the story with him all year. He don't score a whole lot of points. He's not flashy. He's not going to give you a big night as far as offensive stuff goes. But man, he gets down there and battles with other teams' big men. And those two, and I'll give even TJ credit, defensively and on the boards. Those three pretty much sealed it up on the defensive end for us. So defense turned into offense a lot of times, and that's kind of how we got things going and got to rolling there. But able to build a big lead against them, and they made a little run at us in the fourth quarter. Knew they would, but our kids kept their cool and finished, and was really happy. I was happy for them. That's what I told them at the game, in the locker room after the game. I was more proud for that game, I guess, than I've been in any game all year, just for the simple fact that they knew what was at stake. They came out and they finished. So I was very proud of them.
And I know you talked about winning that game. You get that extra home game. Yep. How crucial is that? I know the past few years you've been able to host that first-round regional game, and you get to do it again this year. How important is that, truly?
It's important every year, but it's extremely important this year with the field in this regional tournament. Even getting to play this first round, having the number 1 seed, Eagleton's going to come in on Saturday night, and I know we're going to talk about them here in a little bit, but they're not going to be an easy opponent. So that district down there is loaded with talent. Teams are good, and 3 Mr. Basketball finalists in that area down there. So to have a home game, that is the difference in winning or losing at this point. So we knew we had to have that. If you have to go into Austin, East, or Alcoa down there in that first round, your chances are not very good.
Let's talk about the championship game now. For the 3rd straight season, it was Chucky Doak and South Greene in the championship game. Like you said after the Hampton game, regardless of the outcome, the plaque was coming back to Greene County for the 3rd straight year. It was the 9th game that you two had played in the last 3 years against each other. The 3rd straight year that the championship came down to the Rebels and the Black Knights. The Rebels came back again, won back-to-back. How fun of a game was that for you?
It wasn't too much fun those first few minutes. I think I called 2 timeouts in about the first 4 minutes of the game. Chucky Doak come out and was on fire, and we went down. We're shooting air balls and turning it over, and just didn't look like we were ready to play. But settled in a little bit and then started pounding the ball into the post, and my post players did a really good job of finishing around the bucket, and then that led into some defensive stops and some big rebounds, and Chucky Doak left some points on the board there in the first half too. They missed some easy shots that normally they would knock down. So it's kind of a combination of things that got us back in it. I can't remember how many we got down. It was 16 or so, 17 points or so at one point. And got that thing back down to 4 before the half, and at that point I knew we were at least in contention, going to have a shot to win that thing at the end.
And I think the last 9 matchups that I'd mentioned, I think you're 6-3 in those matchups now, if I'm thinking back correctly. And you get the plaque for the 2nd year in a row now. Like we talked about, end of the year edition, we're potentially going to have to need a bigger table, because if you look at this plaque, the Hardee's, the Big H Barbecue, you don't know what else is to come. Maybe we have a spot that fills that one at the bottom there with the regional tournament coming up. But as you mentioned, you've got Eagleton at home on Saturday night. We'll go ahead and talk about that in just a minute. We got to pay the bills first, so we'll be right back after these quick messages here on Grassroots Media.
Pizza Inn offers contactless buffet to go with JoJo's Family Feast or anything on our menu for carryout. We also honor birthday parties and cater to businesses and large events. We make it easy. Call us today. Pizza Inn Greenville.
Tommy's Plumbing has provided professional plumbing services to the residents of Greenville, Tennessee for over 30 years. Our experience and reputation have helped us grow our business to add locations in Jonesboro, Tennessee. Tommy's Plumbing is local and family owned, and we offer a full line of plumbing services, such as kitchen faucet, shower faucets, commodes, and bathroom faucets, as well as drain cleaning. We also provide outside plumbing work, such as septic and sewer drain cleanouts, as well as repair and replace. Tommy's Plumbing pretty much does it all. Tommy's Plumbing is licensed, bonded, and insured. Our quality workmanship and passion to provide our clients with expert service is second to none. We guarantee we have the best warranty around. For all your plumbing needs, give Tommy's a call at 638-3662.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Greene County Express Terry Hoese Show, where we cover everything on the hardwood with the South Greene Rebels. As always, I'm joined here with Rebels head coach Terry Hoese. So you've got Eagleton coming up on Saturday night in the first round of the Region 1 2A tournament. Let's talk about the opposite district a little bit. I did this same thing with Coach Greg. We've talked about your own district enough this year where you played Chucky Doak 3 times, you played Hampton 3 times, and you played West Greene twice. We spoke a little bit about Alcoa, Austin East, Gatlinburg, Pittman. I don't know if we've even mentioned Eagleton yet on one of these interviews, but let's talk about the opposite district a little bit. First, talk about what you expect out of Eagleton when you play them on Friday night, and talk about what each of the other team you think brings to the table that you expect to see in the tournament.
Well, Eagleton, they upset Oneida in the tournament, so it's kind of one of those deals where nobody really expected Eagleton to even be in it. Kind of gives you an idea that they've gotten better throughout the season, and I watched them play on Saturday, and they've got a kid that can flat shoot it, and some other athletic kids that do a lot of good things. So they come in here on Saturday night. We'll have to play well. I mean, I'm glad we're playing at home. I'd hate to have to go play them on their home floor, but them, you take the other 3. It's a toss-up. They kind of did the same thing in their district as we did here. They've all beaten each other. I've watched those games Saturday. Austin East beats Gatlinburg Pittman in overtime. That's with the Cherry kid not even in the game in overtime situation. And then Alcoa, I watched Alcoa play Eagleton, and Eagleton played them tough for a couple quarters. So Alcoa's got the Carter kid who's going to Penn State. I mean, what do you say about those kids? Their teams are loaded down there. So if we're gonna make any noise, we're gonna have to beat somebody good at some point. So,
and you're gonna have to play somebody good at some point too, because we've talked about that. You're getting. I don't know if you really want to choose who you play, because either way, it's going to be a really good team with a really good player that you're going to have to focus around that has really good supporting pieces. Because you look at Alcoa, who's won the conference but lost to each team in Gatlinburg, Pittman, and Austin East. It's the same scenario where outside of that upset where Oneida beat Gatlinburg, Pittman, it was just like this where all three beat each other. I don't know if it was all three on their home courts, but if you take out that Oneida win and it ended up being a Gatlinburg Pittman win, it would have been an 8-2, 1-1 split between all three, just like this one. So I don't know if there's one you would really want to choose from, because it depends how you match up well. If you match up well with another team and what you think you can expose with another team, but it's going to be interesting coming down to the end.
From a size-wise, I think we match up with anybody down there. I saw them Saturday, and none of the teams had what I would consider big kids. I mean, but obviously they're athletic. They're not Mr. Basketball finalists for nothing.
Yeah.
So it don't make any difference at this point who you play. You're going to have to beat a good team. So hopefully, I guess if you had to stay away from anybody right now, you'd want to stay away from Alcoa as long as possible, just because they won the conference and they're playing on their home court for the regional tournament. And if we do get to that point, we're in a championship game. So at that point, you get an opportunity to play at least one more in a sub-state. So at this time, that's what I told the kids, and it's what I tell every team I ever have when we get to this point. You got to win 2 games right here.
Yeah, you do.
And then you never know what's going to happen. So got to win Saturday night first. Hopefully we can get that done here in front of our home crowd, and then it'll either be Austin East or West Greene. It'd be nice to have a South Greene West Greene match up one more time, wouldn't it? And one of us wind up in a sub-state game at that point. But it don't matter who at this point. They're all good, and we'll have to play the best basketball we can possibly play. And even at that, we may play the best game that we played all year, and it still may not be enough. We'll see where the cards fall, I guess you say, and hope for the best.
Like I said with Steven, though, hope for the next time we sit down and talk, we'll be talking about a regional championship game that you'll be playing at the tail end of next week. But until then, I think that's all we've got. We'll wrap this up, Coach. Once again, thank you for letting me sit down. Congratulations on winning another District 1 2A championship tournament. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Greene County Express Terry Hoese Show. We look forward to seeing you next time here on Grassroots Media.